I'll show you how to edit your scanned traditional art for prints. I usually scan paintings in 600 dpi, but I scanned this A4 size watercolor painting in 1200 dpi because I want it to be big enough for jigsaw puzzles in Redbubble. When I open it in Photoshop, the first thing I do is roughly crop out the white edges with the crop tool from the left sidebar and rotate the image by dragging it from the corner if it's tilted. Click Done and zoom in with the magnifying glass tool and use the crop tool to get rid of the rest of the white edges and click Done. You can zoom out with the magnifying tool by pressing Alt at the same time or choosing the minus from the top toolbar. If you don't have Photoshop, you can start a free 7-day trial from the link. Since this is a pretty big scanned image, I'll scale down the dimensions to what I need for the Redbubble puzzle by going to Image, Image Size. I'll make sure it's in pixels and set the height to 9075 pixels. Then I duplicate the layer before every new adjustment by right-clicking the layer from the right sidebar, just so I can easily go to the previous state if I need to. And I save the project as a PSD file from the File menu, Save As, in case it crashes or something, and to not lose the layers. Next, let's go to Image, Adjustments, and pick Shadows and Highlights. Turning the shadows higher will lighten the shadows, but the more useful slider is turning the highlights higher, which makes the highlights darker if the lightest parts of your artwork were overexposed in the scan or photo. You can toggle the preview on and off to see the difference. And you can also keep duplicating the top layer after each step, so it's easier to go back and compare to the previous step if you need to. The next one I'll show you is at Image, Adjustments, Exposure. Exposure can help, for instance, for watercolor paintings with a white background if the painting is a bit buckled and there are shadows on the white background. You can get rid of them or some of the paper texture by cranking up the exposure a little to make the background fully white, but darken the rest of the image with the gamma correction and offset. And again, you can toggle the preview to see the comparison. And remember to duplicate the layer. You might also want to sharpen the image, and you can do that at Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And look at the detail like an eye in the preview. You can play with the amount, radius and threshold to see the result in the little preview box. If you slide them too high, the image turns grainy, so I'll try to make it as sharp as possible without turning grainy. I'm setting the radius under 1 and amount at around 120. Now you can see in the close-up that there are some paintbrush hairs and dust particles on the painting, so let's fix those with the Spot Brush Healing tool from the left sidebar. You can adjust the size and hardness of the brush from the top toolbar. And then you just paint over the imperfection and the tool will kind of clone and fill in that part with what's around it. To make sure I'm getting every part, I'll zoom in and start from the top left and go over the whole image in sections. I'm not paying a lot of attention to the white background though, cause I'll end up removing it anyway. This part takes the longest, but I also try not to zoom in too much, so that I'm not fixing things that won't even be visible. This is a pretty satisfying way to fix mistakes, but you don't need to fix everything that makes it look like a traditional artwork. Remember to save every once in a while with Ctrl S. Now, especially if you're dealing with a photo and not a scan, if the photo skews yellow or blue, depending on the lighting, you can go to Image, Adjustments, Photo Filter, and try the warming or cooling filters to fix it. I don't have that issue, but let's go to Saturation next. If you want to make the image grayscale, go to Image, Adjustments, Desaturate. And you can press Ctrl Z to undo. But to increase saturation, go to Image, Adjustments, vibrance and play with the vibrance and saturation and toggle the preview on and off to compare. I'm not fully happy with this, so I'll go back to exposure and make the painting a little darker. Also, the eyes or the white part around the eyes is a little too dark, so I'll select it with the brush select tool by painting over it. And then go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, and up the contrast and brightness to lighten the eye a bit. Even though print-on-demand sites usually require images in RGB color mode, they still print them in CMYK. So to check what it looks like in CMYK color mode, I'll export this version as a PNG from File, Quick Export as PNG, open it in Photoshop and change it to CMYK by going to Image, Mode and picking CMYK color. Or go to Edit, Convert to Profile to choose a different CMYK profile. Now, comparing these two, you can see that the CMYK version is a little desaturated, especially the pink or red flowers, so I might want to bump up the saturation a bit on the RGB version to make it look like I intended it to look printed. And then go to File, Export as PNG, or if I need a smaller file, I might export it as JPEG as well. But if you want to turn the background transparent for a sticker or pattern design, here's a video on how to do that. See you there!